Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today we have a cool looking Sudoku. It's called Another Archery Contest by the Bard, and it does appear to be like a target, I guess. Excuse me. So let's get into these rules and see what we can get done with this one. Learn how to talk, sir. So the rule starts out your turn. So I don't know if there was another one called Another Archery Contest. So maybe there was another one that I didn't see prior to this, but rules are your turn. So there you go. Do with that as you will. Then we've got normal Sudoku rules apply. So place the digits 1 through 9, once each in every row, column, and 3x3 box. We've got killer cages. So digits add up to the value in the corner. So to expand upon that description, I'd like to say it's 14. We have 3 digits in this 14 cage. The 14 is in the top left corner. So these 3 digits must add up to 14. And in killer cages, you cannot repeat digits. Now, it doesn't say that specifically in this rule set, but that is a killer cage rule. So we're going to run with that and see where it gets us. Then we've got arrows. Digits along the arrow add up to the digit in the circle. So these 2 digits, whatever they may be, added together will equal this. Now, on an arrow clue, there are no restraints in terms of not being repeatable digits. As long as it works with the remainder of normal Sudoku rules, you can repeat digits on arrows typically. And then we have colors are purely aesthetic. So that's just to create the target view or image, excuse me. So anyway, let's hope our killer cages don't have some weird rule that's not added on here that I'm not aware of. Like I said, we're gonna work with them. You can't repeat digits until we see something that may otherwise tell us differently, and we may find that. So let's get into this one and see what we can figure out. So another archery contest by the Bard. Now, okay, I don't see any instances where there would be any type of repetition that would need to occur on any of these cages. So we're going to stick with that the fact that in a normal killer cage rule you cannot repeat digits. Now, what does that mean? Well, we've got a couple of cages that are essentially set just by their size and their given totals. Select this 16 cage. There's only 5 digits you can put in it. Now, if you do, the very least you could put in a 5-cell killer cages, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Those equal up to 15. So therefore, we only have 1 more digit we can add. So this has to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6 instead. Now, the 35, I believe, is going to be the exact same thing because the most you can possibly put in 5 digits is 9, 8, 7, 6, and 5, and those equal 35. My phone, of course, decided it was going to beep. Never fails. So 9, 8, 7, 6, and 5, 35. So therefore, these must be those digits in that setting. Now, we've got the same thing here for this 35. And we're going to have a 7 here as well. Let's, I think this 35 might be a little bit better. I know I'm getting a little bit ahead. Well, not ahead, but putting a lot of marks in some of these things. But in these instances, they are the given digits. So therefore, it's not like we're looking at possibilities. Those are just what they are. So let's do this. Let's do the same thing on this one. But we're going to be able to remove at least the 9 from here. Maybe we can't do much more than that. Let's look at this 7 cage, and maybe that will correspond to these other cages. 3-cell 7 cage. The only way you can do is 1, 2, 4. That's just all there is to it. So these can't be from 1, 2, or 4. 5, 6, 7. Almost have a quad to go with our triple here of 1, 2, 4. Now, we also know there has to be a 1 in this 8 somewhere, so we'll put a 1 there. What else is a given, if anything is a given? Well, right here, this, oh, we could have just started right in the middle. Would have been probably the most logical place. If you're looking to hit a target, you go right for the target, right? And not skimming around the edges. So looking at this now, as I've stopped becoming blind, we should be able to determine exactly what I think all of these digits may be in some fashion. So we've got a 24, we've got a 10, and we've got a 10. So that's 44. So the target must be a 1. So let's remove some of our digits. Now 24, the only way you can make it 24 in 3 cells is 987. So again, we have a given, this can't be 8 and this can't be 9, so that's going to have to be 7. And that 7 is going to help us as we move outwards. So yes, it does appear that I just started on the wrong side. I should have been here, and I started here. So anyway, we're only a couple minutes into the solve anyway, so it's not a big deal. Now, if we know this has to be a 7 and this can't be a 1 because there's a 1 there, this has to be a 2 and this has to be a 9. So therefore, we can get rid of our 9s and we can get rid of some 7s. We can get rid of some 9s. Just doing some cleanup here because of these items. It'd probably be easier to wait till later to do this cleanup, but it is what it is. I'm sticking to it. So let's see. What can we do with this 2-cell 10? Well, we can't do 9-1, we can't do 8-2, and we can't do 7-3, so we must have to do 6-4. Now, if we have 6-4 here, these must be 5 and 3, 5, 3, and 2 do, in fact, equal 10. So we've got what we need in the middle, at least to some standard. Now, we can remove some things from here, because this can't be 8 or 7. It can't be 6 because this would have to be 3. So this one would, the bare minimum would be 3, and it put a 9 here. So this has to be 5. This can't be 5 because that would have to be 10. So that has to be 3. So that's going to give us an 8. This can't be 5 or 8. So now it is 7. So let's get rid of our 7s that were located elsewhere. Can we do anything further? Remove the 5 there, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Now, we've got an 8 down here, and it sees a 4, 6. So this is either a 2 or a 4, because if this is a 4, this has to be a 4. Wait, what am I doing? My brain just stopped working there for a second. I looked at the clue of 8, and it's like, oh, this has to be 8. You're an idiot. No, it does not. If this is a 4, let's see what this the lowest this could possibly be. This is what I'm really trying to get to. If this is a 4, this could be a 2. So the lowest this can possibly be is a 6. Can't be 7, 8, or 9. So there's our options. Now, can we do anything with this 15 here? Well, this clearly can't be 9 or 8 as I look back at the 8 cage. I'm being a bit slow. Work with me. None of these can be 6. Let's get rid of all that stuff. Now that 2 does look here. And we almost have this 16 starting to unravel, but we don't quite yet. So this is 6, this has to be a 4. This then has to be a 2. This has to be 6. This has to be 4. This has to be 1. This has to be 2. There we go. We've got some things going now. We can get rid of our 5 here. Now we've got an 8, 9. Excuse me. We've got 1, 2, 5, 6, 8, and 9. We need to put a 7 somewhere in this row, and it can't go over here, so it must go here. Therefore, this must be 3 or 4. Well, we know it's 4 because these 2s are already here. I just didn't notice that. So this is 4. This is 3. This is 6. These are not 3. These are not 6. Let's clean up all this good stuff. We can get rid of these 5s. We can get rid of that 9. We can get rid of all of these 6s. And then we have a 7, 8 pair, so we can get rid of that. Yeah, so this would have been cleaner if I just started here and then started working out. But at the end of the day, it still really does the same thing. I just did it in a slightly different order than would probably be the most ideal way of going about it. So let's look at what we have left in this row, maybe. And we've got a couple of rows that are starting to look like they have not much left to do in them. So these have to be from 3, 5, and 9. And that doesn't do anything other than this can't be 9. So we know there's a 9 over here somewhere. Now, if this is 3 and this is 1, we know we have to have a 1 in here. That's 4 now, so it has to have a 4 with it. If this is a 5 to go with the 1, that's 6. This has to have a 2 in it. So we get down to a 1, 2, 4 possibility, and nothing seems to be looking at. Well, this 8 here, let's look here. This has to be 6, and we could have done the same thing with these two because the killer cages cannot repeat digits. So that 6 has piled in there. Now, since there's a lot going on, sometimes I don't see everything right off the bat. We've got 1, 2, and 4, so we know we've got a 2 here, so the 2 is going to have to go up here, so we can get rid of these guys. Now we know what these 2 digits have to be. No, I didn't mean to click that. Stop it. These have to be from 1 and 3, and we've got a 1 here, so let's put our 3 and our 1 in. And what more? We've got... These have to be from 5, 8, and 9, because that's all that we can put in here. So we've got a 5, 8, 9 triple, actually, which means this has to be a 1, 4 pair. We could have seen that in this box also. Now, is there anything else that we might be able to start ruling things out from? Well, we've got a 3 here. This has to equal 15, but there's 2 ways to make a 15 in 2 cells. 9, 6, and 8, 7. Now, the 9 and the 8 can't go here, so this has to be an 8 or a 9, and therefore this has to be 6 or a 7. Right, because this is 15, so 9 would go with 6, 8 would go with 7 to create 15. That's correct. Okay. Always get nervous sometimes when I'm doing my math because, you know, I've had some issues in the past, but hey, we get there eventually, right? What's next? What's next? Is there anything just basic Sudoku looking at us right now? Probably not quite yet. I don't think I can do anything with this 20 just yet, because we can 3 and 9 both work perfectly fine in there. If you put a 3 in here, you set that 17 left, which is 9, 8, which is no issues there. 5, of course, leaves you 15. There's multiple ways you make 15. And then, of course, the 9 just leaves you with 11. So doesn't look like there's a ton doing in there. What about these two? Because these have to equal 13. Now, is there anything we can say that is ruled out from that? Well, there's 9, 4, which would work perfectly fine. You could put a 9 here and a 4 here. Now, 8, 5, you cannot do. And then 6, 7 is possible. No, 6, 7 is not possible because you would break this. So this has to be a 9, 4. Therefore, this has to be 9, and this has to be 4. This has to be 1 and 4, 1 and 1. Let's get rid of a bunch of markings we've done now. This, therefore, has to be 8. If that's 8, this now equals 11, so this has to be 7. We can get rid of our 8 and 9 from here. And what further can we do? What's left in this row? We need 3, 5, and 6. None of those are seeing anything. Okay. Well, you already said this one is 5, 8, or 9. Putting that in is not really going to do too much for us at the moment. What about these guys on the outskirts here? We know it already has an 8 in it, and we have to get up to 25. So essentially we need to get to 17 in 4 digits. There should be tons of ways to do that. So yeah, that's probably not going to be what we want. Okay, let's look elsewhere then. I mean, maybe there is just some Sudoku I'm not seeing. I mean, we know one of these is a 1, so maybe that's a good place to start. There has to be a 1 in here now. So we've got a 1 and an 8, so we've got 9. So we need 16 in 3 digits. Let's say there might have been some reductions in what we could have put as minimums in here. But I don't see that. No, so I don't think we've got quite enough information to do this yet. So let's continue to see if there's anything in our Sudoku world we can work with. Maybe we can just do something down in here, because we've got a good chunk of what these are. Same down here, or maybe even up here. So we need to put 5, 7, 8, and 9 in these 4. And there really isn't anything ruling out any of those numbers. I mean, the 8's the only thing really right here. So that's not too good. Now, the 4 in this column could go anywhere. The 5 looks like it can go anywhere. The 7 can go anywhere. And the 9 can go anywhere. So yeah, these columns are not giving us anything at the moment. Okay, let's dig a little deeper. Nothing really there. Say nothing there. One of these having to be a 4, but is that going to do much? I know one of these has to be a 4 as well. It doesn't really seem like it does a lot. The 5s don't do much. We just know there's one of these is a 5. And 6s aren't helping, at least not in a Sudoku sense yet. One of these has to be a 7, but that doesn't help me either. And just looks like a big rip in terms of Sudoku at the moment. We just don't quite have enough information, I think. Or we haven't gotten far enough in our solves, I should say. Okay, so what can we do? Well, we did know that we had to have a 1 up here, so let's mark some of these more obvious things. I don't think there's anything else we could really rule out from this column, though. Nope, doesn't appear so. Okay. So, what do we have? We've got this 8 clue that's partially solved. We've got a couple of 14s, but you could do 14 in so many ways in 3 cells. Maybe there's like a minimum on some of these digits that we could start pulling together, because we do have quite a bit of information on a lot of them. So let's start looking at some minimums. Let's just put these in, 3, 5, and 6. Well, this guy. 2, 3, 7, and 8. And I'm just looking at some number combinations here, see if we can reduce these digits anywhere. I think we can say an 8 can never go here. Is that accurate? So we put an 8 here, the lowest we can put here is a 3. Now that gets us to 11. We'd have to put another 3 here to get to 14, so that doesn't work. The next step up is 8 and 5, which gives us 13, so you have to put a 1 here. That doesn't work. 8 and 6 would just give you 14, so this can't be an 8. That's kind of a minuscule little thing that's not going to do us much good either. So let's look over here maybe. So this one actually has a higher low. Does that help us? Not necessarily, because it also has a higher high. These, I don't really see anything that we can really, I mean, we can start going through every combination, but that's not really a great way to go about solving these things. The other thing I guess we can look at is, we know these are 20, so we would know these have to equal to 25. Is it possible to put a 1 over here? Yes, because you could have 987 in the other digits to get to 24. You'd have to put the 9 here, the 7 here, and the 8 here, but that would all work. And then you'd have your 1 over here. So that's not great. So what else can we do that's going to let us continue? All our arrows are done, so we can't do anything further with them. All of this interior stuff is more or less done, except for just this little determination between 8s and 9s here. Now, I mean, I don't know if we want to go down this route, but we do have a Fistum-Fell type of situation where we could start to maybe differentiate what can go in these corners. And I'm not going to really go into a lot of the specifics of how this. It's a theorem, I guess, essentially, trick of the trade, tools of the trades, something like that, whatever you want to call it. But essentially, what the theorem states is that these digits here, all of these digits, must be the same digits as what these are. So if you were to color these in, this ring here, every single digit that's in here has to make a carbon copy in these. Now, is that really where I want to go? Because there's quite a diversity. I think we can put every digit in here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so every digit has some sort of place on this ring. So that might be a last resort to look, because I don't see anything right away that just says, yeah, you can really use that to great effect. I guess we can just use this 8 here. That would have been an obvious thing, but that doesn't really do a whole lot of anything. It just clears up those couple of digits. I guess we know we have to have a 4 in here. And we have to have an 8 up here, so let's put those in. We know those are 4 and 8. We know we have to have a 1 down here somewhere. So therefore, this has to be that 1. So let's roll with that. We're going to get this digit too, actually. It has to be a 6. Okay, so maybe we can do some more with these columns now. So we need 3, 5, and 9. So therefore, this has to be a 9. Because that sees it. These have to be 3 and 5. You probably can't hear us. We got thunder going outside. We might get some storms here in a few minutes. Hopefully that doesn't affect our power. We did lose power yesterday, actually, in the middle of a clear day. Go figure. What do we put up here now? These have to be from 1 and 6. Therefore, these have to be from 3 and 5. Yeah, that's correct. But again, it's just not getting us anywhere. Is there anything we can start doing now with this 25? I mean, we have a tiny bit of extra information. Let's put in the options of what can go in these things and then see if we can figure anything out. This could be a lot of things. 4, 5, 7, and 9, so that's not all that helpful. So we know we have 9. We have to get to 16 then in these last 3 digits. But again, there's just tons of possibilities there. So I don't really like that a lot. Let's look at our Sudoku again now that we have a few more digits given. This might help a little bit. No. taking in these and also trying to see if we can remove items at the same time from our killer cage clues that we might be able to use for help, but they're not really lining up at the moment. Nope, that doesn't do anything for us, it seems. We've got nothing on 5, so that's just about worthless. Doesn't look like the 6s are doing anything. Just tells me that one of these is. There's not enough going on up here. I know one of these is, but I can't rule out a 6 of any type here in the 14 cage. 7s, let's take a quick look on those. I mean, no, we don't really know anything there, do we? Okay, 8s and 9s then. One of these is an 8. This cannot be an 8 because there has to be an 8 here, so this is an 8. Okay, that's something. Let's go with that. That's got to be the next step for us. So, can this ever be a 9 now? The answer is no, because if this is a 9, plus 8 is 17, we'd have to have a 3 here, and that breaks this. So this is not 9, which means this is 9. Okay, this is going to give us something now. 5 and 6. We can start removing things, and that's lining up nicely because it's giving us 3 5s kind of across the board. Now, can we do anything further this 20 while we're sitting here looking at it? If this was an 8 and that was a 3, this would have to be a 9, so therefore that doesn't work. So this is 5, and we can go around all of those in, and that's going to finish this off. That's going to be 4. This cannot be 3 anymore. And now we should know this digit too, because we've got the 8 and the 5, so we've got 13, so this has to be 7. That doesn't do much else here, but we can get rid of that at least. Now, this digit is a given 9, so that's going to clear up our 8, 9. Well, the 8 did that anyway, but either way, we get our 8, 9 to finish up the inside of our target. We now, what do we know? We have a couple things we can start looking at here. So we know this has to equal 11, because we already have 3. So if this was a 9, this would have to be a 2. That works perfectly fine. If this is a 5, it would have to be a 6. That does not work. And if this was a 4, this would have to be a 7, but that does work. So this is 2 and 7 as possibilities. Can we do anything similar over here? We know we already have 5 out of the 9 or the 14, so we have 9 left over. If we were to have a 7, this would have to be a 2, but that would break because we just figured out that this is a 2 or a 7, so this can never be a 7. If we had a 2, this would have to be 7. That would break that again, and also we have a 7 here, so this is 3. And this is going to do some work here as well. Now we know these are 8, so this has to be 6. That's going to clear 1 and 6 up. Did we get this finalized? Doesn't look like we did. This has to be 2 or 7 to finish that row or column. These guys, what do they have to be? 2 and 9. Surprisingly, nothing is quite looking at those yet. Figured we might see more than that at this stage. Okay, let's look at these guys because there might be some implications on our 20s. Our 20 and our 25, I should say. So we need 4, 5, and 9. This can't be 5 or 9, so this is 4. That doesn't correlate down there, but it does give us our 9 and our 5. Now we know this is a 12, so this has to be the 2. And we should be pretty close to figuring this one out now. Let's look at our 20 cage and or our 25 cage. Let's do 20 first, and we'll go down to 25. They should both have something we can do with them, I hope. This is equal to 14 already. So therefore, we only have 6 left, so we must do 4 and 2. And 8 and 9. and 2 and 7. And this is, we're going to tell us what we get down here now. So we've got 16, 20. This has to be 5 and 3. Now, that should be everything for the clues. So now we just need to finish off our Sudoku. Let's start in the top right corner, just because. No real reason why, just seemed to where I wanted to start. This has to be 7, this has to be 8. Then we're going to get this, well, we're going to get the 1 in the corner. We're going to get a 4 here, and we're going to get a 7 here. The 6 is there, so we're pushing the 6 here, plus we finish the row. These have to be from 2 and 3, so 3 goes here, 2 goes here. We get a deet, deet, doot in the corner. And we've got 2 digits left, and they are a given. So we got 5 and 9. And there we go. You solved the puzzle. Solution is correct. So that was a good one. Another archery contest by the Bard. Turned out really nice. Good intro where you had to start kind of using the basic information. Now, granted, I started out here kind of in a whim, but then quickly focused on the interior and then started moving outwards. But it all came together quite well. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. As you know, that helps me immensely to keep this channel growing. So hopefully I can be a halfway decent YouTuber. Anyway, just screwing around. Hope you all guys enjoyed this one. I will see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.